So we've probably all played Trooper. His rocket launchers can decimate teams. Not to mention he's pretty handsome. But that's besides the point. This video isn't about Trooper's primaries. We get this one shoots faster, this one shoots slower, this one does more damage, blah blah blah. We already know all of that stuff. How about we talk about something a little more interesting and won't want to make me... Today we'll be talking about Trooper's secondaries, the right hand men to his rocket launchers. There's the reliable, the overpowered, and don't use this weapon, it is literally useless. But first, let me lay down some ground rules on how this video is going to be formatted. This video will be split into 4 different categories, since all of his Trooper secondaries are different and encourage different playstyles. These categories will be the shotguns, the banners, and the other ones which don't fit into really any other category. Also, warning. This video will contain opinions that's as scary as his Aero Warfare fans making a funny joke. If you don't like hearing people say that Death Blow is good or the Booty Blaster is bad, click off immediately! With that out of the way, let's hop right in. Let's start off with the shotgun, arguably the most boring pick. The shotgun is Trooper's stock secondary and a pretty good one at that. I mean, we've heard it 1,000 times. It's reliable, it's good to swap when you're low on ammo, and it's a good finishing tool. Yeah, you get the deal. The people who usually use this weapons are free-to-plays who just installed the game or pro tryhard troopers who know that the shotgun is one of the best secondaries for Trooper. It's a pretty good pick overall. It can also be really annoying though, especially those soldiers who just refuse to go for splash damage or air shots and just want to get the kill. However, the thing that particularly outshines the shotgun is a weapon we'll get to later. To conclude, please just use your rocket. This weapon is basically a screw you / middle finger to rocket jumping troopers. It's basically the same as stock, except in mini-crits airborne targets it does a little less damage. It's pretty annoying to deal with. I mean, yeah, I guess it's good for comboing and other launchers like the Liberty launcher because of the splash damage and the faster clip speed. But if you even dare to pair this with a direct hit, you're just straight up evil, man. Even then, direct hit is a better option unless you can't aim air shots. Then I guess the reserve shooter is a fine pick. The family business is honestly just very redundant. Think about it, more firing speed, more clip, but less damage. You can just smell the redundancy, just how you could smell viruses from an Arabic website. There isn't that much to say, it's just a more balanced shotgun. This weapon isn't necessarily bad, it's just kind of overshined by stock. Use it if you want, I don't care, stock is better in my opinion. Alright, moving on. The Bullet Stormer is a decent pick for Trooper, actually. Since it increases clip size on kill, it's actually pretty similar to the Death Blow in the same capacity besides the clip speed. However, with that said, don't let yourself at the enemy with this. You will die. I recommend pairing it with a rocket launcher. I guess you could also say maybe use this as some sort of finishing tool. And it's not bad at it, but other shotguns are better at that. It's not the best on its own, but it's alright for pairing. Moving on. The Krankenstein is a pretty mediocre choice for Trooper. Okay, you know what, fine, I'll just be honest, it kind of sucks. When you use a shotgun as a Trooper, you want that meat shot now, not later. The whole point of whipping out a shotgun is that you want instant damage. So when you use this thing, you basically handicap yourself by using it and only using it. And all this time, you could have been just using your rocket launcher. If you play Trooper regularly, you'll be punished heavily. Overall, unless you were going with Shotgun Trooper and you don't really care about your rocket launcher, don't use it. I love the Death Blow, and it's sad because I used to hate this weapon and thought it was too mediocre to be viable, but after using it more, I've come to realize it's actually really good. This weapon is basically built for comboing with the rocket launcher since it has a faster clip speed, meaning you could basically dual wield with your rocket launcher and a shotgun. This paired with a rocket launcher can do massive amounts of damage, especially at close range and with a pocket Kritzkrieg medic. You can basically shred through servers. I mean, as long as you can actually aim, you know, duh. The only problem that this weapon has is that it's very bad long range, which applies to most shotguns anyway. It takes a long time to reload if you're not hitting your shots. However, if you are hitting your shots, it effectively reloads on hit, which is pretty neat. It rewards you for killing and punishes you for missing, which is what I love about the weapon. Now, is it better than stock? Nah, I don't know. Okay, moving on. Now we're on to the banners. 3 different banners with 3 different buffs and 3 different horns. The buff banner is arguably the worst banner of the 3, even if giving you and your team mini crits is pretty fun. While the rest of the banners have their own unique buffs and abilities, the buff banner just gives you mini crits and I guess a 50% faster firing speed and reloading speed, but it's barely noticeable. This banner pairs pretty well with high damage output rocket launchers such as the direct and this thing. Since these rocket launchers can do massive damage if aimed right, along with mini crits, they're basically able to shred through enemies one by one. Just make sure you can aim because, yeah, you don't want to waste those mini crits on nothing. Now, the Battalions is a way different story. The Battalions is considered to be one of the best weapons in TF2, and it somewhat applies in TC2. The Battalions doesn't reward you with crits or heals or anything like that, but it does reward you with some massive resistances. First of all, it has a 30% max HP on wearer, which can be really good for collecting massive damage, such as being able to survive 2 pipes from annihilators. Not only that, it has a full resistance against crits. You know, the thing that triples your damage output? Yeah, you could say goodbye to that because it doesn't exist anymore if the other trooper has this on. Not only that, you get a 50% damage resistance against sentries, excluding the Wrangler for some reason, and a 35% damage resistance from all other sources, shotguns, rockets, pipes, miniguns, you name it. And yes, these resistances all apply to your teammates as long as you are near them. This banner is probably the best of the 3, and for good reason. All these defenses make it overpowered, if not an extremely good secondary to use. The only real problem is that this banner kind of relies on whether your team can actually play the game or not, so you might want to kind of note that as well. The conch is the middle ground of the 3 banners. It's not necessarily a bad banner, it's just a little overshadowed by the massive damage resistance and mini grits, but I digress. The Conqueror is the healer of the 3, rewards you with AHP regenerated every second on wearer. Basically, every second you're damaged, you get AHP healed. However, this isn't exactly accurate in game. Let me explain. When you take damage, it actually takes about 3 seconds for you to start healing, and it only stops up at 4 HP for every second. Then after a few seconds, it changes to 8 HP per second, but whatever. On range, the Conch provides a group speed boost for you and your team, and the all damage you deal is given as healing. Wait a second, all damage is given back as healing? Sounds familiar, doesn't it? Now where have I? Yup, this weapon pairs very well with the black box. The black box works the exact same way the conch does, minus the speed boost. All damage you do is returned as heals. So combining this with the conch, you're basically doubling your healing. Along with that extra speed boost, basically turns you into a mortal soldier, which is pretty cool. Alright, let's see what's next. Oh no. Okay, I need to be real with you guys for a second. Why in the booty do people even use this? Like, I get it. People can like what they like, but this is basically just a worse shotgun. And it's sad because I see a lot of soldiers use this weapon, not even for the memes. Like, come on, it's just a really good at long range, and it's not even that different from just shooting with your rocket launcher. Don't even bother with this weapon unless you want to intentionally handicap yourself. It's not reliable, it doesn't do good damage, except for maybe long range, but it's still just okay. The reload is also incredibly slow. Yeah, I'm just gonna move on. Oh hey, look! Another really trash weapon and arguably one of the worst weapons in the entire game. You know, this weapon used to be good before the Typical Horrors 2 update, but after that update, it completely ruined this weapon's DPS. This weapon's damage before the update on a single target would be at least 80 to 120. Now it does to 15 to 30 damage since it not only hits a single target once, instead of 3 times before the update. I guess if you like meme loadouts, this is an okay weapon to use. Just please try not to handicap yourself too much. I'm gonna be genuine, the secondary is terrible. It's not reliable, doesn't give you any other buffs, it doesn't even do damage. It just kind of lets you float in the air, I guess. I mean, if you like floating in the air, I guess it's kind of cool. But I mean, why have buffs, reliable damage, or rocket jumping capability when there's this thing, right? There honestly is only one use for this weapon, if you can even call it a weapon, which is pairing it with the aerial bomber. Since it shoots 60% faster and has projectiles fly 60% faster while in the air, but even then that's not very viable, so, you know, still gotta reload at some point. Use literally anything else. The gunboats are actually a pretty good choice for normal trooper loadouts, and I think compared to the others, this is going to be a contender for the best secondary. You know the deal, it allows you to rocket jump without worrying about weird stuff like health, unlike normal rocket jumping does, which makes it very good for travel. And as we all know, rocket jumping is pretty fun, and I kind of like getting to the front lines fast, you know? So having the ability to do that while barely taking any damage is pretty awesome. I mean, sure, it might not give overpowered buffs, or it might not do damage like a shotgun, but come on, only minus 60% damage from rocket jumping? You cannot pass that up. I mean, I just like how drippy the shoes are, like we're dealing with Jordans as a weapon for an FPS. Alright, moving on. The mag treads are pretty mediocre for a normal loadout. The gunboats just outshine them in every way. All the upsides to the mag treads are so forgettable and unusable. No fall damage and the complete resistance to air blast knockback is pretty niche and very situational. The only thing this is used for is pairing it with the rocket jumper, since you won't be able to take fall damage, meaning you won't be able to take damage at all while rocket jumping as a soldier. It may be used to be paired with shoulder loadouts, so you should probably treat it as such and not use it for anything else. Alright, so now that we've basically covered every secondary trooper has, we still need to ask ourselves the grand old question. Which one is the best? What's the best secondary to use overall? Well, I can't exactly answer the best one overall yet, but I could say the best one for each category. For the shotguns, I'd either say the death blow or the stock shotgun. It's really hard to decide between the two, and they're both good in their own ways. But overall, I would say the death blow. For banners, it's the battalions, probably. We'll get the most boring one out of the three, but boring doesn't always mean bad. I mean, we're talking about full resistance against crits and a 50% damage resistance against sentries. And you know how much damage it does to these little annoying rockets, right? Ugh, it just gives you chills thinking about it. For the other ones in the boots, most of them are pretty bad, but it's the gunboats for obvious reasons. Again, the rocket jump capability without having to take too much damage is a must-have, especially if you're somebody who's addicted to rocket jumping like me. Now, the toughest question, which of these is the best pick for trooper? And my answer is... it depends. It really just depends on what playstyle you're trying to go for. If you want to help with rely on teamwork and be able to live as long as possible, then sure, the battalions is good. If you want a reliable finishing tool to swap to when you're low on ammo or something to combo with to do massive amounts of damage, use the death blow or the shotgun. If you love jumping with rockets, yeah, sure, get Michael's Jordans, I don't care. It's really up to you to choose what playstyle is the best for how you like to play the game, which in my opinion is the beauty of choosing the best loadout for a class, or you could just use the Boonie Blaster, I guess that's a thing. And yeah, that's basically everything. If for some odd reason you want to see a ranking on the secondaries, then here it is. And just to clarify one more time, this is entirely 100% opinion based. You might not agree with what I say for some of these, and that's fine. I'd honestly love to hear what you guys think about these. I mean, if you think the PDR should be in S tier, sure, why not? Alright, yeah, I'll stop wasting your time. Thanks for watching, have a good day, and keep those boots golden!